fighter.
Lightning inspired. Fight. Knockout. You win.
Welcome to the stream, everybody. Welcome to Kendo Tips. Thank you very much for passing by. My name is Jose. I'm a golden in Kendo, and today we'll be talking about Kendo, watching some Kendo videos, and I hope you enjoy it. Please let me know how the volume is and everything. Making sure that everything is fine right now. The plan for today, last week I did a stream talking about pressure and how to approach your opponent in a practice setting, in Jigeiko setting. So today I kind of want to, because of some of the questions I got and some of the, messages and so on, I want to kind of show a little bit of the competitive side of this and kind of try to figure out how can we approach our partner or our opponent as we are in competition, and how can it be a little bit different from practice, and how can it be similar. So anyways, thank you very much for passing by. Let me know that you're here by either hitting the like button or saying hello in the chat. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. It's kind of hot here, so let me just. Nick, welcome to the stream. Thank you for passing by, and you actually sharing some of the news that I was planning on sharing here already. But yes, so this year it was a little bit special for the Hachidan testing because they had an extra test, and on this round that just took place, Teramoto Sensei, Takanabe Sensei, and what else did you say, Nick? Sato Sensei. They got their Hachidan, so it's amazing that we have new Hachidan. I think in total 7 passed, so that's pretty cool. And the fact that Teramoto Sensei became Hachidan is actually amazing as well, I think. Very well deserved. He has amazing kendo, and I really admire the style of kendo he does as well. Nothing that I can, copy, especially because his body type is very different, right? But definitely a lot of things that we can learn from his kendo. Let me make sure that my comments, I can read the comments better because, one second, guys, I'm sorry. Fang, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for passing by. Let me just hold on because I cannot read the comments as it is right now. Yeah, I'm getting. Okay. Nick, you're saying they all competed on the same Japan team at WKC. Actually, that's pretty cool. Fun fact. Yeah, like, don't think that we'll see that again for a while. Maybe they're a good. I feel that who was in the last team in Korea? Ando, Tsuchitani. Who else? Oh my god, I forgot the other name. Anyways, but maybe we can see it again. But that's a fun fact. That's a cool fun fact. Okay, guys. So let me make sure that the video is visible. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. So let me know if you guys can see the video. How are the volumes? How's everything when it comes to the volume? I feel like I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed with the. Okay, 1 second, guys. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay. Good. Fang, you're saying you're a Kendoka from Vietnam. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for passing by. You got second place in your city's tournament, and my videos have helped you a lot in getting ippons. Awesome. If you can share some of the things that you feel that help you specifically on being more aware of scoring ippon, that would be awesome. I think we can all learn from everybody. So please share that, and hopefully today we can talk about a different aspect on how to feel more secure, more confident on approaching your opponent and try to see the opportunities that are there and attacking and so on. So that's the video that I have prepared for you guys today. Let me make sure that you guys can hear it. The video is from Let's Kendo. What I like to do here is that I like to share the link in the chat. So I'll put it in the chat if anybody would like to go watch it on your own. This video was suggested from a member of the Discord server. If anybody would like to join Discord, this is I'll put the link on the chat. But yeah, so the link was shared from somebody from the Discord in order to examine, again, the pressure. Like he was mentioning more specifically about the Jordan matches. There's 2 Jordan matches in this video. So we're going to watch that a little bit. I am not a Jordan player, so I can only offer my point of view when it comes to getting the pressure from Jordans and some of the things that I might be able to do in order to kind of get them to react. So I'll be sharing some of those thoughts today. So if you have any questions, just make sure to let me know. You ask them here. And if you would like to support the channel, would like to become a member, I'll put the link up in the chat as well. So you guys are welcome to become members of the channel and support Kendo Tips. Anyways, let's get this going. So this competition is very athletic, and one of the things that I like to point out when watching competitions that are very athletic is that there's a lot of things that happen because of how fast the motions are and how much pressure that can cause somebody. So being athletic can give you an advantage, but at the same time, depending on the athleticism and not communicating with your opponent, especially when you're fighting with somebody that understands what's happening and they're very good at keeping the distance or closing the distance, moving very well and understanding what's happening with the opponent, you're gonna be in a disadvantage if you depend solely on that athleticism, right? You do need to understand how to communicate with your partner. So that's going to be my main focus on watching the matches today. Fan, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. So you're saying you're 6'1", so your style is greatly based on men. So my videos have improved your speed, especially the Hikiwaza videos, as support you greatly. However, you hope that you will make a video on how to deal with Jordan. Oh, okay. I actually want to do this with a Jordan player. So I have somebody that I'm planning on doing something like this. We just haven't found the good time to like record and all this stuff. It's such a pain. Nick, you're saying come to Beppu and let's do a combo video on handling Jordan players. Facts. Okay, we have to. Right now, because of school and stuff, I've been so uptight, and even though now we're in a break, like I've been so busy with like homework and stuff. So yeah, I'll definitely come and do that. We need to plan it out. Thank you for the support. I'll definitely go do that. Okay. And fan, in this video, in this stream today, there's going to be 2 Jordan players, so we can actually talk about that here too. So if you notice, there's a lot of attacks. There's a lot of attacks happening. Depending on the level of Kendo, that could be a good thing, but at the same time, you gotta understand that every time you attack and you are kind of not getting a reaction from your opponent is also trying to figure out your timing, when are you coming, so you have to be mindful of when you're coming in and what kind of reaction you're getting, because if your opponent feels secure, they might be able to actually mess up with your timing and get an ippon on you. So, but you will notice that even like in this moment right here, that it wasn't an ippon. I'll show you in a second. So if you watch red, you're gonna notice that even though he's coming in for a technique, he's trying to come in and get a reaction before the actual attack. So watch it a little bit in slow motion. So you see, comes in and tries to get a reaction by making a big swing. Hold on, let me just make it again in regular speed. So watch it right here. So you see, like, red comes in, tries to get a reaction by lifting up the sword, and then not only getting a reaction, but also changing the timing of the approach, right? Because the way that the sword comes up and comes down, he has a lot of control of this moment. I don't know if that makes sense, but let me know if it doesn't. But so he's trying to come in, trying to get an opening. He got a reaction, and that's why I think that he decided to come in. This could be good, but at the same time, you have to be careful, because if you have somebody that is ready and is not really backing off, most likely that person will attack. And he was exposed a lot for that kote, right? Because even till this point right here, he's still vulnerable. Like even all the way to here, he's still vulnerable for that kote. So if his opponent were to come in for kote, or maybe even men, probably would have put him in danger. Nick, are this police teams? So my kanjis are... I'm still not there, so I'm gonna paste. Sorry, I didn't check that before, but I'll paste the description of the video on the chat. Darth, regarding the video now, is good. They can attack successive. Just want to ask what's the technique, or wait. Just want to ask what's the technique or way or not to drain or lose your stamina and endurance every attack. That is a very good point to talk about. Nick already kind of shared a little bit of that. It's like lots of oikomi geiko and kakari geiko to get to that point. Kirikaeshi, a lot of kirikaeshi as well. So they're like, I don't know what type of training they do, but for me, it's it's quite common to go to a university or to a police dojo and see that they do at least like half an hour of kakarieko, uchikomi, oikomi, tobikomi. Like they do all this, all this set of drills that are high intensity, and but it's not about only doing high intensity, but also making sure that every time you attack, you're trying to get ippon. So there are times where you do drills in order to get tired, but you still want to have the accuracy and good impact on your technique. So I think the easiest way, and it's not easy, as again to do, is especially if you don't have partners that they can do kakarigeko, that can receive kakarigeko, or like especially for eye kakarigeko, as as dynamic as you can. A lot of kirikashi drills can help a lot. So yeah, definitely, that will be something that you want to try. Abigail, welcome to the stream. Thank you for passing by. Good morning. Good night for me here, but thank you for passing by. Nick, you're saying Hokkaido Police is 2 practices a day, 2-hour practice. Both Osaka Police and Hokkaido Police have full videos of their practice done by Let's Kendo. Yeah, like there's a few resources you can go watch on YouTube of how they do their practice. Those videos are not complete though, and the 2 practices are a little bit different. So they have one practice. For example, when I was going to Osaka Police, they have one practice that is very physical, and the other one that it's a little bit more technical, or like they do more practice with the senseis and so on. So they have different practices. And that being said, the ones that want to push themselves even further, they actually do extra practice at other dojos as well. So yeah, it's a lot of training going on. So, but to kind of Darth to get back to conserving energy, or like not wasting energy. I'm not gonna say conserving, but not wasting energy. You want to learn how to have a relaxed kamae, being able to move around, feeling comfortable on your kamae, and only tense up at the moment of the attack. When you're committing to a technique and stuff like that, you want to explode. So in essence, you want to avoid wasting motions and wasting energy by doing techniques on properly, and also being effective on how you move. I hope that makes sense. Kendo Journey, thank you for passing by. Thank you for being a member of the stream, of the channel. Really helps to support the channel and keep bringing you stuff. So let me keep going with this. So I was saying that here, even though that he's trying to change the timing, he's very vulnerable to getting attacked. So be mindful of that. So Darth, I'm just gonna show this a little bit as an example of the relaxation and pushing in. If you watch here, white and red, they go back into kamae. Even though their kamae, is supposed to be relaxed, it's at the same time it's engaged. And if you watch how red is kind of doing the little steps to coming in, like, let me just rewind a little bit. So right at this point, if you guys watch, see, like, there's little steps taken, right? And these little steps are very good in order to create control and to also create surprise on the opponent. I was talking a little bit about this on last week's stream, but you want to learn how to take that one step and have the feeling that you're gonna keep going, at the same time not having to commit to a technique before you take that first step. So that first step can work as a way to assess your opponent, and at the same time you have to understand how to do it fluidly, relax, but engage at the same time. And that comes with a lot of practice. So I feel, I don't know what's going to happen. I watched part of this early on, but I don't remember who scores on this match. But I feel that red has attacked so many times, and white is becoming a little bit more confident on how he is coming in. So if you watch here, red is going to come in, and white is going to just like kind of deflect the shinai. right? So he's being very attentive. I will be very careful at this point because white is kind of setting up already for success. Galaxy, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much. So it's good morning for you, but good evening for me. This right here, this spot right here, notice what white is going to do and how he's going to approach red. Red is not necessarily going to freeze, but he's almost like, you know, he's definitely saying, I'm not coming in, I'm not going in. So you see this little step down, this little motion to kind of create tension against the opponent. This is very common to see. The main thing is that many people do it wrong because they put all the way forward. They lose traction on the back foot. But here, white is definitely not losing traction. He's very well grounded. As a matter of fact, I don't think you guys can see it here, so let me just move it. 1 second here. Sorry, I don't know why this screen became so big. So sorry, guys. It was not supposed to be so big. So if you watch at this point, white has a very good grounding on the back foot. If he wanted to come in, he's in prime position. His back foot is ready to push him forward. The forward leg is holding him back. So at the same time, if he needs to come back, he can push off on that forward leg and be able to make a little bit more distance away from the opponent to not get hit. So the reaction that we get from red is that, the reaction we get from red is a little bit of a hold back, right? Hold on, let me go back a little bit more. So you see, there's a little bit of hesitation there. After that, there's not necessarily coming in. And these are the type of things you want to be careful. You don't want to front load. You don't want to put all the weight forward and then get stuck. That if you have the opportunity, you don't have the traction to go forward. And at the same time, you want to be in a good position that if you need to go back, your forward leg can push off and actually make some distance away from your opponent. Hope that makes sense. Darth, okay, you said thanks to Silver, and thanks Kendo Tips for explaining detail your question. Yeah, if you have more questions, anybody, please feel free. Sorry, somebody subscribed to the channel, so thank you very much for subscribing. I cannot see the name, but thank you very much for being a subscriber. Can you guys hear the video now? Something happened. Let me see. Okay, for some reason I cannot hear the video, so. Oh, okay, so you see white gave that. Let's watch that ippon one more time. Let's break down this ippon if you guys don't mind. Okay. Let me say that there's a couple of things happening here. Okay, sorry. Hunter Pro, thank you very much for passing by. For what kendo kata can be used in Shiai, I'll tell you guys in a second. I'll answer that question in a second. And Nick, you're saying they're always coming in earlier to work or for work. Oh yeah, like the people on the police and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, definitely you need to practice footwork, and I can talk for ages about that. If Jan was here, he'll tell you that. Okay, there's a lot of things happening in here, right? So let's break it down for a second. Let me make sure that you guys can see it properly, though. Okay, I'm gonna move it here because the back foot is very important about what's happening here. So If you watch this, the back foot is going to be always engaged. So the back foot is always engaged once he settles down in that position. So watch. He makes the distance first and then comes in slightly forward to put pressure. Notice that he's not coming in too deep, right? He's at the point where both shinai are crossed, but he's not too deep in. So he can still put a lot of more pressure in. He can still use that distance to come in. But at the same time, he's also kind of giving himself a little bit of space to react to whatever the opponent is going to do, or, you know, the distance or the attack the opponent will come in. After he puts that main pressure here, the back foot is still anchored, still pushing forward. Watch the back heel. Oh, hold on, let me move this a little bit more. You guys can watch it. So the main thing here, and this is something that happens quite often, that when somebody's coming in, even though you might know what technique to do, you sometimes may hit it late. And a lot of times the reason for that is because the back foot is not engaged. So you have to kind of readjust yourself before you come forward. But if you take that first step and you make sure that the back foot is engaged to push you forward, you're ready to come in. And as soon as he sees that his opponent is coming in, so you see the back foot is engaged immediately after he took a step. He engages the back foot and starts pushing forward. When he sees his opponents coming in, he keeps that pressure going forward to get the kote. So it's very important to make sure that your back foot is always engaged to keep you in the fight, to make sure that you're ready to go forward. Now, the other thing that is very interesting how it's happening here is the power, the impact that he's getting in such a small swing. If you notice, he doesn't go way up, right? It's a very compact kote, but he's able to get good impact, good sound. And this happens not only because he has good control of the tenouchi in his wrist, but also because he's bringing his body in to create that impact. So it's not just throwing the arms forward, he's coming in with the body and hitting together with the body and the hands. Hope that makes sense. Let's watch it one more time on full speed. Yeah. I don't know what you guys think about this attack, and it's something that is not easy to, to develop, but you have to break it down. For me, what I found to be more helpful, especially for being able to get a good impact in small distances, is break down, the synchronization of using your body and the hands, the understanding how each hand works to create the impact, the motions of the arm. So break everything down and then build up yourself into making sure that you can create good impact even when you have small distance, a small swing, and so on. Let me just answer the question about kata really quick from who asked Hunter Pro. Okay, guys, if you haven't, please hit the like button. It really helps the stream get pushed out to more people. But there's a couple of things that I think are very important when you practice kata. First of all, of course, we have a set of katas that are the basic techniques, so you can learn, especially when you're starting a kendo. These are very useful to understand not only how to do the techniques, in a controlled manner, but also understanding how to move your body together. This was something that actually in one of the dojos that I'm practicing in, one of the senseis was talking about to use the katas to help the student understand how to do a long step, control the hands, and then be able to raise the hands and bring them down as the step is taking place, rather than come in, and like just moving the hands first and then coming in for the swing. But The other thing that I feel that kata is very useful for, especially when you're really understanding the roles of the shidachi and the uchidachi, is that you want to, as shidachi, you want to synchronize with uchidachi, right? So you want to understand when they're about to move, so you start moving, right? So you move together. So it's not like you're watching, waiting for them to move, and then you go. You're supposed to go together. And this is something that I don't feel that many people talk about this specifically, but I think I always take it very seriously when I'm doing kata, because I want to try to figure out what are the signs that he's about to move, so I can move together with my partner. The other part is that, especially for the kodachi, you want to also make the opponent come in, right? You don't want to just wait there to then do your technique. You're supposed to provoke your opponent to coming in. So all these things, also understanding a little bit of the timing, how to use the footwork smoothly, without, like, I think especially doing kata slowly can help you understand how to use your body better. And something that I don't think we do too often in kendo practice, right? We don't tend to want to move slowly. We're always trying to push ourselves to go faster and faster. But moving slowly can help us build stability, a little more power, a lot more speed too, and understanding how to do the techniques properly. So hope that makes sense. Yeah, let me know. Okay, let me see something. Okay. Oh, I guess I mute myself before, so that's why I couldn't hear the video. Okay. So notice too that none of the players, like White is not, now that he has a point. Oh, that was actually a good attempt. Now that White has a point ahead, he's not going backwards, right? He's still coming in forward. And maybe people would say that, oh, if you want to run the clock, you want to go backwards, right? Like to kind of avoid the opponent, avoid the fight. They'll make the fight last longer. So most likely you can get a hand soku for doing this. But coming in, it's a way to also being safe as well. Like, you have to know how to do it, right? But if you notice, he's challenging his opponent. He's coming in, so he's not backing off. So he's doing a couple of things. First is getting him scared, saying, I can get that second point. So you gotta be careful. And then at the same time, oh, sorry, you guys, you can't see the video. So my bad. Thank you for... what happened here? Okay, what's happening? Sorry guys, 1 second. Hey? Sorry guys, my computer is kind of being weird now. Okay, I'm just not gonna use the iPad. Okay, let's just watch this one more time so you guys can So this was a really good attempt for that man. So as I'm saying, White is not holding back. He's closing in the distance. He is challenging his opponent. And right after, you're gonna see this. There's full separation, and immediately he comes in. Now, as I'm saying, Red, I think he's taking this approach towards the opponent where he's doing a lot of big motions, maybe trying to be, trying to get the opponent to like flinch. But I think he can get him in trouble, especially now because White is being very forward, very straightforward. So his response, instead of going backwards, he's actually going forward. So he actually had almost good contact on that man. And this is what I'm saying, that trying to be tricky can get you in trouble, right? So I feel that now maybe Red is nervous because he has a point down, so he feels that he needs to do something in order to get an ippon. I don't think he's taking the right approach in that sense. And now, especially after this moment, because I'm sure that he felt that he got hit on the man. Now I think after this, it's going to be a little bit more nerve-wracking for Red after that. Oh, sorry. Okay, so that's the manner we just watched. You see, White is not backing off. He's making sure that he keeps the pressure on him, but at the same time being cautious. You see, and he got him on the same. Let's watch one more time. So let's break this down for 1 second. Sorry. Okay. So from here, you see White, he makes a complete separation. He is getting the right distance to come in. And again, Red is trying to get a reaction from his opponent, but White is ready. If you watch the back foot from White, he is engaged forward. His kamae, it's looking like he's putting pressure forward. And also, Red already is pretty close. He's pretty close to his opponent. And when he's trying to get that pressure, he tries to get that pressure coming in even closer, making it easier for White to come in for White to come in quicker. Now, one thing that I like that White did is that he didn't overreact to the big motion from Red. So you can tell that White is a little bit more calm or a little bit more in control of the situation. And instead of fighting back, he kind of just kept the pressure but lowered the tip slightly. And immediately when he saw that opening, he went forward for that man. Now, one of the things that could also had happened during the fight is that as Red kept doing this more and more throughout the fight, White was paying attention to this. So when he saw the opportunity, when he saw the pattern, he started figuring out what can he do to make the pattern appear. And then when he had that opportunity, that pattern show up, he came in and took the opportunity to get that man. This could be one of the reasons why he was able to get this man. And we saw it in the previous attempt that he tried to do the same thing, right? So you always have to be mindful that how you approach your opponent, how you can be safe as you approach your opponent, but also the more you do something throughout a fight, if you have a good opponent, they're gonna be learning from you and they're gonna try to pick up that position, that moment where you kind of fall into your patterns, and they're going to try to exploit it. Hope that makes sense. So let me know what you think. Let me just catch up with some of the comments here. Shen, welcome to the stream. Thank you for passing by. Dart, you said about the back foot, you have a problem that is not parallel. You're getting tired or you're focusing on the execution. What is the best way to have it natural on being parallel? Okay, so let me see. Maybe you guys. I don't think you guys can see. Yeah, I don't have a. Sorry, you cannot see my feet right now. But if you think about this, when you're walking, the funny thing is that when people are doing kamae, they tend to split their legs, or to move the legs away from each other more unnaturally than when you're walking, right? Because when you're walking, you might not be fully parallel, but you're closer than what I see most people doing kamae, right? But the main thing, and I posted a video about this, right? That is that you want the back leg to throw you forward. So if you can practice that, if you can find a way to, maybe take a step or two, be in this position and just leap forward with that back leg, find what is the best position for you to have that leap forward, can help a lot. Because when you're leaping forward, if your hips are, away, you're not really leaping forward, you're actually leaping sideways, right? So I don't know if this makes sense to you, that the way I see it is I have more power to leap in, right? Like almost like if I'm going to dive in, but obviously I'm not going down, I'm pushing off with my foot. So my focus when I'm in kamae is that I want to leap in, I want to hop off the floor and, push forward rather than, going sideways. So in the video that I posted about this, I'm talking about how my right foot is not parallel. My right foot and my left foot are not parallel. What I do is I have my left foot pointing straight in the middle of my opponent, but my right foot is slightly like this. So this foot, I'm not paying attention when it comes to what am I doing to push forward. I'm paying more attention to this one, and I just leap forward and I have it like this so my hips can be, forward towards my opponent, rather than if I am like this, my hips will open up that way. So yeah, hope that makes sense. So if you're having problems sleeping forward, again, Nick mentioned about how, many people come into the dojo early to practice footwork, but this is something that you don't need to go to the dojo to practice, right? You can actually do it at home, outside. You can do it with shoes on, because you're looking to find the most effective way to leap forward without leaning in. So one thing that I try to practice, especially when I'm not making too much noise. I cannot do it right now because the neighbor's downstairs, but if you can take one step, take one relaxed step forward and then leap forward, if you can polish this skill, I think you'll get it. And if you're able to do it often and being relaxed, I think you should be good. Okay, let's go to the next fight. The next fight is with Jordan players. So I believe that the question that was posted in Discord was about paying attention to how you can apply seme from Jordan. So as I said earlier, I am not a Jordan player. So what I can do is I can tell you what I feel when I fight somebody that's a good Jordan player, and maybe how I would take that approach to replicating it as a Jordan player. But again, I'm not a Jordan player. I can tell you more about how I approach my fight against Jordan players. So let's watch a little bit of it and we'll talk about it. Okay, I think we have a good exchange here when it comes to pressure. Again, we're not looking today necessarily at the ippons, but we're looking about how to approach the opponent, right? So I'll say this. When you are a Chudan player going against a Jodan player, the most dangerous things you can do is bring your hands up to cover the man. Hold on, let me get my chin out real quick. So make sure that I can see myself here. So let me just put the camera here. When you're in kamae, against Jordan, maybe I can just lower this a little bit. Okay. So if you're protecting, you normally want to have your kamae, threatening the left hand of the Jordan player, right? But if you're covering up here the man, the kote becomes very exposed, especially against morote kote, right? So I had the luck of going to Gashiku where we had I think like 2 or 3 sessions with a Jodan player, and the what this person shared was that the main two techniques you want to, as a high school student or college student here in Japan, that they teach you to before you go to tournament, is going to be katatemen and morote kote. Like with these two techniques, you have a big broad already of possibilities when it comes to scoring ippon. So morote kote is I think sometimes underrated as a chudan player coming in from a jodan player, but it's a very dangerous technique, especially because you can feel the threat against your men. So people think that, oh, this is what I should do, right? But this makes you very exposed to the kote from jodan player. Sorry, that probably took longer than I wanted it, but the main thing that I want to do when I'm fighting against a Jodan player is I want to make the Jodan player, like, okay, the easiest way to kind of deal with the Jodan player is that if you can get them to attack from the further distance. So if you go backwards, right? If you go away from a Jodan player, you should know that they can get you at a very far distance. But if you make them confident to hit you or to try to hit you from that far, it can become easier for you to deflect because you have more time on watching the sword coming down. That being said, you don't want to lower the tip as you approach the opponent, as you're coming in closer, because then you're not going to have time, because that man can come in pretty fast. The other approach that I like to take is I like to come in as well, come in closer, because they tend to not be as efficient at a closer distance. Don't get me wrong, they can be, they are very good, but especially when you have a Jodan player that have a longer tsuka, right? They become a little bit less efficient at a closer distance. So maybe you can take advantage of that. Keeping them overwhelmed with their open targets, right? So making them feel that, okay, you can go here, you can come here, you can go for tsuki, you can go for the men. So you have to make them kind of like worried about their target. So you have to project to them that you're a threat. The one thing I don't like to do, and I just see that Hunter Pro mentioned about it, I don't like to come in to do do against them, right? Maybe if I'm doing yakudo, maybe, or do if I'm going through, but because their do is open, that doesn't mean that it's an opening, because as you're trying to go for the do, they have a lot of time to get your man, right? And as I said, when you're coming closer, that man is coming very fast. So you have to be very mindful that the do is not open just because they have their hands up. So be mindful of that. Hunter Pro, how to improve do ippons. Hit with the proper side of your shinai on the proper target. So don't go too deep, but understand that for do, you might have to come in a little bit deeper than you do for men. The other thing is that you want to do the motion slowly, and if you really want to get into it, like do kirikaeshi too is a good drill to improve the impact and the motion. Darth, you're following my channel, listening to Kendo Tips for years now, but this is your first time to watch the live. Thank you for passing by. I appreciate that. May I know where to look so that you know when you go live? Okay, normally I go live on Sundays now at this time. So, but I will put in the Discord server. Normally I put the link early on. Lately I haven't done it anywhere else besides Discord, so I put the Discord server on the chat if you would like to join in. Maybe I should be more diligent to do it like on Instagram or somewhere else, but yeah, because I don't think YouTube is so good at pushing other notifications. But normally I'm doing Sundays at 11:30 my time right now in Japan, so about an hour ago, that's when I started. Okay, so oh, sorry. I wanted to talk about this interaction real quick. So, if you watch, both of them, I think, are doing a good job at pushing each other, right? White gives a little push with the back leg still engaged, right? This right here. The back leg is a little bit high for a second, but if you watch the heel, he tries to bring it down quicker. I am going to say that for this level of athleticism or the way that they train, don't copy this, because maybe here he doesn't have very good engagement, but maybe he's also not trying to go forward. I don't know what's happening. So this is actually a very bad position. This is actually the things that I want people to avoid, because at this moment, I don't feel that he has a good engagement, but I'm sure that he will pick it up. Oh, actually, you see, he's trying to go backwards, so he's not actually getting a good engagement at all on that leg. And maybe what he's trying to do is trying to get him to, throw them in, make a bigger distance, and deflect it. Now, let's watch the approach from the Jordan player. So Jordan player has very good distance. So if you watch, look at the body and look how the hands are slightly coming in forward, right? So he's not coming in immediately for a technique. So he's almost like slowing down the downswing. And you see, he brought the hands down. Maybe he thought about, let's watch this for a second. Maybe he thought about going for morote kote, but then he's able to switch back up, and this kind of switches the timing, right? So this is kind of what I was talking about in the previous fight, where he kind of, from Chudan, he kind of came up a little bit before he threw that swing. So maybe this is what's happening here. And you got to understand that as Jordan players, it can be very confusing if you're not used to it, because you can bring the hands down, you can bring them back up, you can change a lot of things. And once you bring the hands down, you can still attack. It's not that you have to attack always from up top, right? So he went for that morote kote and immediately recover. But what I'm trying to say here is that both of them had good intention of pushing each other. Jordan player was more aggressive, so that's why White had to come backwards, right? Jorge, hello. Any tips for dealing with someone who's faster than you? Yes. Give me a second. I'll share some of that. Okay. There was a... Okay, let me just go forward. So you see that attempt for the morote kote? This is what I'm saying, that you have to be careful against a Jordan player, right? So if you watch, Jordan player comes in, he puts the pressure forward, and he keeps putting a little bit more motion forward. He re-engages the back leg. He starts moving in forward, and then when he sees that his opponent raises the hands, he goes in for that morote kote. Obviously, that wasn't a good angle for him to go, but this is definitely something that you as a Chudan player have to be careful. And as a Jordan player, you have to also be mindful that this is a big opening for you. So if you as a Jordan player, practicing to catch these moments, I think you're missing a big gap on the possibilities you may have. So right here, you see, Jordan player, even though, and this is the key, guys. If you're not practicing your footwork, you're missing a big part of it. Look how he's not throwing the technique immediately when he's pushing with the legs. He's moving with the legs first. Oh, he's moving with the legs first. Okay. Watch this exchange. He's going to, even though his hands are up top and he has the possibility to come immediately down for a technique, he's playing around with the timing by pushing in with his legs, moving his body, creating momentum before he throws the sword down. So if you watch it one more time, now in slow motion. So watch. His opponent was able to his opponent was able to, catch him, but still a very good tool to have under your belt, right? Watch. The right foot, or in this case, the left foot, is starting to move forward, and at this point right here is when he shoots that man, and he comes in with a lot of power. Unfortunately, his opponent was kind of ready for the man. Maybe if he would have gone for Kote, he would have scored it, but definitely a good thing to keep in mind when you're trying to attack. You want to throw your body in and then be explosive with your hands. You don't want to move the hands first and then start moving your body. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Huey, thank you very much for being a member of the channel, and thank you for passing by. You didn't notice his foot. Yeah, this is very good tool to have for Chudan and Yuan players alike. Now, let me answer the question that Jorge just posted. Jorge, I hope you're still here. So sorry if it took a minute, but if you notice, a lot of times right now I'm living this quite often in every dojo I go, because a lot of the senseis 7-dan and Hachidan, right, are much older, and a lot of times they might not be as, sometimes they are as fast as I am, or but you can see a lot of times in the dojo a lot of discrepancy between speed and athletic abilities between the younger students and the senseis. But you're gonna see that 99% of the times the sensei is always on top. And one of the biggest things that I am noticing from senseis and how they're able to make the faster opponent lose the exchange is two things. First, every step they take, every move they make has a purpose, meaning that they're not just moving and then resting. They're moving and they're trying to get the person to kind of be scared or go backwards or go forward, trying to get them to do something. So every time they move, they're trying to make the opponent do something. And the way that I feel that this happens, and is the second part of the reason why I feel that they're always on top, is because their legs are always engaged forward into the technique. So I've been saying this a lot in my videos, and it's something that is very hard for me to communicate, I think. So I hope it makes sense. But when you take a step, you want to feel that you took that step, but you're kind of still in motion forward, almost like there's a membrane stopping you from going forward, and all it takes is for you to just push a little bit more to come in. Now, the other thing, I guess a bonus, is that, and actually I should be posting a video tomorrow, and this is one of the biggest things on this video, is that you want to aim for where the opponent is going to be rather to where the opponent is. So let me use the microphone as an example and make sure that you guys can see it. Okay, so if this is my opponent, right, normally when you're attacking here, right? But if the opponent is moving and you're attacking here, it takes you longer to execute your tenouchi than it would take that other person to come in and hit you, because of course you're coming in, you're making it easier. So that way you're able to, they're able to execute the tenouchi much faster. Now, last little pointer on this is kind of like an idea that I'm still working on my mind, is that you want to be the first person to move, to cause a reaction, but not necessarily be the first person to attack. Because if you attack because the other person moved, that other person has momentum and they might be expecting you to come in. So I think it's a very tricky question to answer. How can you beat somebody that's faster than you? But in essence, you have to anticipate them rather than react to them. So you have to be the aggressor and you have to be the one making them react. If I have to say it in one sentence, is that you have to make them react. You cannot be reacting to them. That's a mouthful. Sorry, that took too long. Let me know what you think about that, please. Gas, thank you for passing by. Apparently, Teramoto Sensei got a Hachidan. Yes, Teramoto Sensei, Takanabe Sensei also got Hachidan. There are 7 new Hachidans in this extra testing that they did last week or this week. I forgot. This is very, very interesting too. As a Jodan player, you have the possibility to attack with one hand. Oh, sorry, I went too far. Wait. Sorry, I missed. Oh, sorry guys, I lost my place in the video. I think it's right here. Yeah. So as a Jodan player, you can attack from one hand. You will not have the same power, but you can still attack with one hand, right? And right here, I don't know why White decided to go in for that, maybe Kote or something, but I think he was lucky to the fact that he didn't get hit in the proper place. But this is definitely a good attempt from Red to go in for that man. So you have to be mindful that as a Jodan player, fighting a Jodan player, they can hit you with one hand. Crazy. I think the Jodan player is doing a good job at getting reactions from the Chudan player. If you watch right here, he's putting pressure by coming in, and he's making White to be all like defensive, right? And when he sees an opportunity, boom, he comes in. White also, if you notice, if you saw that moment right there, White tried to do Suriage against that attack. So this is one of the most effective tactics, I think, against men, against Jodan players. So also good thing to keep in mind. Hunter Pro, how to deal with Nito players. I'll talk about it in a second. I actually have a couple of Nito friends that have shared a couple of tips, and I fought them out as well, so I can give you my experience. Not that much experience, but definitely I got a couple things in my pocket. Gas, you're saying when you apply Seme, you can cause a reaction, but after getting that reaction, you can make a Wasa and you get hit instead. So that is the worst thing. Your conscience says that's the worst thing. That is correct, because maybe I don't know. I have to see it in a video, right? But maybe what's happening is that you're getting a reaction because you're putting the pressure, but then you stop, and maybe your opponent felt threatened for a fraction of a second, but as soon as they see you stop, they know that you're coming in a two rhythm, like in two different beats. So if they can catch this rhythm, especially if you're doing it more than once in a fight, they can come in and actually capitalize on it. So you have to anticipate that opening. So the way that I believe is the most effective to learn how to capitalize on this is to come in and attack when you're in practice. So try to get that reaction, but whether you're gonna, in your mind, whether you were gonna get that reaction or not, still come in, still attack. If you missed, you missed. If you got it, at least you can get that experience and know, okay, where was that opening? And the other thing is that I don't know if you guys have had this experience yet, but in Shiai especially, I feel that that's when it becomes more evident, but you should pay attention to this in your practice. But the best ippons that you will ever have, you will not plan them. Like, they will come, your body will just do them. You have to be mindful of your approach, but you also have to let your body do what you train it to do. So that's why we practice so much Kihon, right? And we practice even like, Oji Wasa in Kihon, we practice Shikake Wasa in Kihon, because you want to let your body kind of go on autopilot at that moment. You're piloting it's kind of like you're guiding the missile before you pull the trigger, but once you pull the trigger, the bullet has to go. So same thing here. You have to, teach your body to just come in after you put that pressure and not be afraid. But this is the hardest thing, right? Because especially when you keep getting hit by sensei, you'll be like, I'm gonna get hit again. But don't care. Throw that out of the window and just go. Hope that makes sense. Jorge is saying, okay, it's interesting about moving first, but not being the first one to attack. But again, you have to not cut that motion. So there's a lot of things that kind of build up in layers. So I guess, yeah. Please ask questions, more and more questions. So maybe like I can give the whole message in one stream. How you should escape that freeze after applying semi? I think I just said that. Just go in, just attack, because then you allow your body to learn. Now, in tournament, I know the stakes are higher, so my approach to kind of defeating that on myself, it's not worrying about the ippon. So I think I talked about this when I had the stream with the sports psychologist here, that you want to kind of have already in your mindset, like the mentality, like a little bit of a mantra, a little bit of a, self-affirmation to kind of just talk yourself into being there. So for example, for me, I try not to focus on I want to get an ippon. I'm just trying to focusing on the things that I know work in order to get an ippon, right? Like to get an opening. So for example, going forward, don't go back. Continue, like be fluid. Don't be static. Don't be tense. So you have to figure out what are the things that you're challenged the most with, and kind of make a scenario on your head, on your mind of like how you approach it in advance. Shen, you're saying that you do that too. You think the reason for that is because you're semi without tame. So, but if you have tame at all times, anything. Okay, so I like what you're saying, Shen, but there's one thing. You don't want to make it confusing. You don't want to add things. So when I was preparing, and this is, I'm just going to share you this with information, what you want. I'm just going to share a little bit of knowledge that was dropped on me before when I was preparing myself for my golden examination, is that you want to, the sensei that I was talking to, he's saying that all the way up to golden, Kendo, it's entry and attack. Entry and attack. That part of tame, or that holding back so much, or that's so much about that interaction. Oh, sorry guys, let me put my computer to charge. I forgot about that. Give me one second. We don't want the stream to get cut off because of power. Hopefully I didn't break anything. Okay, I'm here. You guys see me? Okay, good, perfect. So you want to come in, and that whole part about tame, you want to. It's hard to explain tame when you haven't really kind of like polish how to use your body, how to approach and how to be fluid. So this is what he was trying to explain to me, that you want to focus more in letting your body learn how to respond, how to react, rather than being so focused in I have to hold myself back, right? So it worked a lot for me, and it kind of like opened a lot of doors for me to keep growing, because I stopped caring so much about going at the perfect moment. So you want to, as a matter of fact, every dojo that I'm been practicing lately, like they just tell me, just go. You miss, okay, it's okay, go, and let your body kind of absorb those patterns, because everybody has the same patterns, right? Like maybe everybody doesn't have all the patterns, but between practicing with different people, you're gonna get to recognize all the patterns. And Listen, if Hachidan Sensei is saying to do that, I'm doing it. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot. We can talk about this for days. So, if you watch what the Chudan player is doing, look at this. We're talking about that reaction, right? That anticipation, and then oh, Hunter. Sorry, I did forget about the Nito player. I'll talk about it after this. So if you watch this, look what White is doing. He's going to put pressure, and then he's waiting, right? But right after he got the attack, he's coming in for another technique. So maybe he came in with the idea, I'm going to do men kaeshi men, right? So this is also a common thing that happens. I'm not saying that this is what happened here, by the way. I'm just saying that this maybe, I'm trying to explain it as if it was me, right? Maybe in this interaction, he came in with that idea. So there was a little bit of that hesitation. If you notice, he comes in. Look at this moment. He gets a reaction, and this is a favorable reaction for him, I think. So at this point, maybe if he would have gone for kote here, for the left kote, on the way back when the men was coming down, maybe he would have gone the kote, right? Maybe if he would have come in forward, could have done kaeshi do. Maybe with the so much push that the Jordan player had on the way back, maybe he could have also done gyakudo. But I think he stopped, and I think he kind of froze at that moment. It's okay. I'm not saying that, oh, he's not doing good. I think he's being safe, but this is the type of hesitation that in regular practice, I'm trying to avoid. In Shiai, I am not trying to think about all this stuff. I'm just trying to just pay attention to my opponent and try to just overwhelm my opponent. But when I'm in practice, I am trying to avoid being in this position. So this is my current goal right now, and something that I feel that has opened so many doors for me right now, or so many things in my brains have kind of like, developed just because of that. So my advice is, you want to get out of that rut, just do it. Just go and do it. And recognize when you're holding back, when you're freezing, and then try to just not do it again. Okay, Gas, you say, well, would White blocking as he's going in be considered Hansoku? No. If it would have been, I think they would have given the Hansoku right there, because this match, it's recent. And the reason for that is because he's not closing the distance to purposely stall the match. He's coming in, he's putting pressure, he got scared, he covered. So this is a regular exchange. So let me go a little bit onto what talking about Nito real quick, just to answer Hunter's question. So you gotta understand that there's two type of Nito, right? Like, so you have left or right Daito. So for me, I try to not pay attention to the Kodachi or the Shoto, right? Like, I'm paying attention to the Daito, and because this is the one that most of the times is gonna be the one to score the Ippon. There are occasions where the Kodachi can score an Ippon, so you also have to be slightly careful. But especially, I think, for most of Europe and US, the only way that anybody's gonna give an Ippon is gonna be with the Daito. That being said, there's a couple of things that you have to understand. That this hand up here, like whichever hand it is, it works the same as Jodan, right? So a lot of the things, like, when the person comes in for men, you're gonna have a lot of time the farther you are, so you can do Suriagawasa. A lot of times too, because the hand, the technique comes with one hand, Some players are not as strong to bring the sword down, so you can actually challenge a lot the the one-handed. But the biggest thing that I feel that it's the most useful against Nito players is to kind of give them a taste of their own medicine. So if you think about it, normally people become very overwhelmed with the two swords, right? But if you try to just kind of overwhelm them with closing the distance, with throwing techniques at them, being engaged and being mindful of making sure that they are the ones kind of like on the defense, it becomes a little bit more difficult for them to attack, and then they tend to give you more openings. So again, everybody goes into patterns, so maybe they'll drop the hand down to try to attack your kote, so you can see that. So for me, I have a little bit of an easier time fighting against Nito with the left hand on the top, because for me the kote becomes very comfortable, right? So this is another target, right? It becomes very comfortable for me to hit this kote, and at the same time, what's it called? This also becomes very familiar, right? With Yodan. From this one, I think that the biggest thing is to make it again overwhelming. So even for both, Rensoku Waza is very effective. Kote Men. One of the senseis at the dojo, we have a Nito player in one of the dojos that I practice, and one of the senseis keeps telling me to always kind of like for the right hand on the top, to kind of pressure the kote, come like you're gonna hit men, but then come back for the other side. If they're bringing the sword down, you can get the man, or you can get the kote. But again, it's something that you have to take on the as you go. But the biggest thing is just overwhelm them. So Rensoku Waza always is my approach against Nito players. I think this is the most effective. So let me make sure that I'm catching up with some of the comments. Gas, you're saying no stalling is the key part for the Hansoku. If you watch the explanation videos for the cover rules, you will notice that they will say, what was the line that they said? I forgot the line, but it was something about purposely, actually I went to a Shimpan seminar right after the implementation of the rules, and one thing that the head Shimpan sensei was talking about is that anything done on purpose, right, should be considered Hansoku. So I think that the reason why this specific sentence was said was kind of alluding, or maybe this is just my feeling because this is how I felt, alluding to the last WKC where people were throwing themselves purposely on the floor. So this could be considered, with this, it could be considered Hansoku, right? Like doing anything that it's avoiding for you to fight, or purposely doing something with malice. So yes, because you also have to allow for a fluid exchange of the fight, right? So obviously when somebody's going to attack, when somebody's afraid, they're going to cover. So covering is not penalized. What is penalized in what's it called, like high school tournaments, and I don't know if Nick is here, he can probably give a little bit better light. High school tournaments here in Japan, it's like, approaching and before you get the engagement, you're already covering, and like doing like the whole like covering all the targets thing. This thing, it is considered Hansoku, but if you're coming in and you got scared and you cover, it's not the same thing, I think. So I could be wrong though. Don't quote me on all of this. Stalling is the key. Okay. Something are just lost in the translation, you guess? Yeah, totally. There's a lot of things that are not being clear. You always hit the fist when hitting the right shoto kote. Any tips on hitting deeper? So I don't think you need to hit deeper. You just need to hit in the right angle. Because I don't. Well, maybe I will need to see it, right? But like for the image that I have in my hand, make sure that I can see it here. So I'm guessing that maybe you're hitting when they're doing this. So a lot of the times, like if they're doing this, it can become very tricky. So at this point, it's out of the way. So normally what I try to do is try to get them to, not move this way. So maybe if I am making them focus on the on this hand, they will try to put seme. A lot of times when they're trying to kind of like pressure forward, I try to get it in there as I'm coming in, as I'm closing the distance. I'm not saying that this is easy to get. It's still extremely difficult. I just feel more comfortable hitting this one than this one. When they put the kamae straight and I'm close enough, I can come in very very quickly. And oh yeah, okay, I do have one tip to hit deeper and to make sure that you do it quicker. Let me make sure that we're in the right window. Sorry guys, I'm working here. My iPad is not giving my second monitor right now, but okay. So many times when people going to do kote, they lift up here, they go around and they try to hit the fist, right? So this from this side, they go back and they hit around. So this can work depending on the type of kote that you have accessible, but ideally you want to throw the kote, especially for against the shoto. I want to throw it quick and sharp forward in this way, so stretching the tip in rather than going up and above. Because remember, you have a short sword, they have a short sword, so you don't have to go all around and you don't have to waste too much time. So if you manage to kind of close the distance enough where you can come in here and then with a like sharp motion get the feet moving, you can catch them before they actually register that you're coming in for that kote. Most likely you can get a good impact in there. That makes sense. Okay, let's just finish this fight, guys. I think I'm gonna call it a night after this fight because it's kind of late here. So you see, both of them are coming in and approaching. They're trying to not be afraid of coming in and taking advantage of the motions. This was a very good. So watch what's happening here. White is gonna come in. White came in, but he kind of got afraid, right? So he's raising the hands here. The Jordan player, he kind of comes in for that morote kote, but then he readjusts. So they have very good eye on seeing when the opportunity kind of went off. Then he went for a yakudo and he missed. He was a little bit too far, and that was very dangerous for him to go at this distance because he could have lost the ippon here. I think maybe just because he didn't get a good impact here, he didn't get the man. But very dangerous position to be in. Yeah, totally, guys. Totally close on that, man. Oh. You see, this is another... When you're fighting a Jolan player, you cannot hesitate. So actually, this position right here is very good against a Jolan player if you're going to be defensive, right? Because it kind of puts him in a situation where like they don't really know sometimes what to do. So that being said, like he used this position kind of to like see what he could get, I think. So it's prime to do suriage, right? So that maybe somebody that's inexperienced as a Jodan player, they can see, oh, maybe I can hit that man. But because of the way that he's holding the sword, he's ready for that suriage. He's kind of in a position where maybe the kote is available, but not too much. So he can do a very little motion and still defend the kote. And at the same time, because the tip is forward, it becomes a little bit more threatening because it's closer to the kote, right? And at the same time, makes it a little bit harder for him to hit the do. But on the flip side, it's kind of a little bit harder to be to have more access to the different targets for you to actually hit. So I think it's a very defensive position. Oh, so that was dangerous, right? I think this is the first time where White was extremely reactive and a little bit slow on that reaction on this match. So he's commenting a lot with that lift in the hands this way. So I feel that if the Jordan player catches the timing, he will be able to catch the men. I mean the kote. Dar, why was that an ippon by the way? Wait, which one? There hasn't been an ippon from the Jordan player. In this Jordan match, it has not been an ippon at all yet. Ah, you see right there. That's man, dude. I'm telling you, normally when good players get scored on by a Jordan player, they tend to be either on that kote or on the do. Oh, wait. What happened? Ah, okay. Oh, he didn't get... Oh, sorry. Who got that ippon? Sorry, my bad. I didn't... Oh, no. There was no ippon there. Whoa. Are you guys seeing? Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna call the wild card on here. And I always say this, guys. A lot of times when things happen so fast, when you have a good snap, good kikentaichi, good fumikomi, and a good ki, sometimes the judges can actually register that as an ippon. So that's why it's so important that when you are practicing your basics, when you're practicing your kendo, make sure that you're practicing to look like you actually hit, or not to look like you hit, to feel confident and to feel stable even when you miss. The reason for that in my book is because you want to be ready to attack for the next technique as soon as possible. But on the flip side too, on the other side, another extra benefit is that a judge can actually call an ippon for that. So you always want to have good posture, good attacks, and even when you miss, sometimes you have the chance of actually getting an ippon. This is crazy. Who you think got that ippon the first time you saw it, right? I was like, oh, I thought it was the kote, but definitely not what we expected. Such a crazy ippon. So kiai, kikentaichi, all those things are very important. Yeah, sanshin too. Sanshin totally as well. So okay, I'm going to say this because especially when I post high school shorts, high school videos of tournaments or even college videos, a lot of people, they say, oh, bad sanshin, I don't know why they're giving this point, all this crazy moves and blah blah blah, like the kaishido, but like, oh, but he didn't have sanshin after. So there's a couple of things that you want to be mindful. There is the desire, like the textbook image that we all have what sanshin should be, but Zanshin has to have something before, like, okay. Actually, I cannot say it as eloquently as Kenshi 24/7 George McCall says it. If you get a second, please go read his article on Zanshin and Sutemi, because you see, Zanshin is not only a physical act. It's not just going through and passing through, turning around, and then going into kamae. You can have this physical action and not have sanshin, right? For example, you can go through, have a very good, nice follow through, turn around, be in kamae, but immediately get hit because another person came in. So that means that you lost the connection between you and your opponent after you score, after you make contact with your opponent. So this is not sanction either. So it's not only about that physical aspect, it's also about being mindful of your opponent at all times after you committed to a technique. But in order, I feel that, or the biggest confusion has to do a lot with sutemi, right? Your ability to just throw everything in the technique. A lot of times when I see people saying bad sanction, it's not because the person wasn't paying attention to the opponent after the hit, but it's more because the body didn't follow through, didn't have a good follow through, it didn't have a good, and because without sutemi, you normally don't have good impact. So it's a lot of consequences out of not committing into a technique. So we have to be a little bit mindful on what is it that we're really looking for, what is it that we're judging, because if you don't know, then you cannot train it, you cannot improve it, right? So always try to be mindful about not only about what is it, the physical aspect of sanction, but also the mental aspect of sanction, but also keep in mind sutemi. Anyways, I'll stop rambling about this. Good timing, good technique. Men, Kaeshi men, right? It took a little bit too long because he saw that he covered. He didn't get a good impact, but definitely good approach in that technique. Oh, you see, that was kind of close for that man from Jordan player, because White is just kind of going back very defensive. Oh. Yeah, he's going for that Morote Kote. He's seeing that hands come up. He's being a little bit more aggressive, I guess, now, because he knows that time is running out. And yeah, and the team was already under. So, okay. Yeah, this is very tough when you get score like this. It becomes a little bit like, like it puts you down a little bit. That being said, I think both players did a really good job. I don't know if you guys picked up anything from approach. How are they approaching each other? How they're building up that pressure and how they're taking advantage of it. Again, maybe practicing this at the dojo can look a little bit different in the sense that you don't want to concern yourself on you're going to get hit, you're going to, miss or fail, but you want to use this practice to further develop your understanding of the patterns or the reactions that people are going to have and learn to anticipate it. So when you're in Shiai, because the nerves, because of the stakes and so on, it might look different, but the concept is the same. You want to learn how to anticipate your opponent. You want to learn how to approach your opponent safely and the timing of attack. So when I say attack at the dojo, and then use that information to go to the Shiai, you don't want to just always attack the same way. right? You want to figure out, okay, this way worked, this way didn't work. And when I say different ways, I don't say go for different techniques and, like different, yes, you want to try different techniques. You want to try maybe, osai, harai, maki, or whatever you want to do. But you also want to try different timings with your footwork and different lengths of steps, trying to understand, is a person coming in? I don't have to go that far. I can anticipate where they're going to be and then attack there. Or, they're going backwards. Maybe I need to do 2-3 steps in order to attack. What is it that you need to do in order to change the timing, change the feeling, and changing the information that your opponent is getting from you? And at the same time, you want to draw information from your opponent. Hope that makes sense. Hunter, why there aren't more than 3 kamae? There are more than 3 kamae, and as a matter of fact, let's say this. We have 3 kamae that are used in, what's it called? In regular kendo practice, but at the same time, we have certain variations of this kamae that actually should have other names, but because, in kendo, I guess they're simplifying it, so they have all this, just to make it easier, I guess, we divided it into the, gedan, chudan, and jodan. But the other thing is that the reason for that is because the type of exchange that we're doing. So you will see more of the other kamaes, like for example, in kata you see waki and haso, and they're using the kata. But when you're fighting against each other in the format that we're fighting, they don't become useful, right? Like they don't become what's it called? They don't become as useful or as challenging to go against other kamae. So for example, why would you want to have your sword behind you if somebody has their sword right in front of you, right? And even in the kata, we come forward before we actually come into a striking distance. And I know that there are historical reasons why those kamaes were used before, which I don't know these reasons. Maybe I need to do some research on that, which I'm sure is all in Japanese, so I need to find a way to do it. But on that note, I do know of people that used extreme variations of this kamaes and those kamaes, and it's kind of like a mixture between them. I'm actually afraid of saying this because I don't want to be quoted out there and I'm making people do crazy stuff, or making... Okay, I'll share this, but don't say anywhere that Kendo Tips told me to do this, or show me to do this. But I do know somebody that against sometimes Jodan players, but most of the times against Nito player with the left hand on the left, the left hand on the Daito, that like he has a kamae. See, he has a kamae that is more like this, right? Like the tip is completely off center. He's really good, and his theory behind that is to be able to kind of close the distance without the Nito player feeling the pressure of the tip being so close. So he plays a lot with how the tip is. So, especially when the Nito player is not so good at understanding distance without the sword in front of them. So to getting close, to then shoot straight into the kote, straight into the do, or even coming in for like men on top. So it's a little bit of a mixture, right? Because this is not necessarily gedan. It's a little bit of a mix, right? So that being said, stick to the basic kamae. As a matter of fact, I don't think you should try at the beginning, early on, as a main kamae. I don't think you should try anything else than chudan, because here you want to understand a couple of things. You want to use this to understand the tension, the pressure that your opponent is giving you, understand the distance, right? Not only your distance, but also your opponent's distance. And then you can also understand how to play around with the distance at this point. But at the same time, you want to make it where if you're changing the kamae, you're definitely not really paying attention to what the opponent can do against you. So you want to try to understand distance first, then you can take the sword out, and then you can actually play around with that. Capped. Maybe a little weird question, but is the inside loop of the do important? Mine doesn't seem to have it. It's a part that can be also be used to hang charms. Yes, as a matter of fact, like I have the omamori that I think it's called omamori, right? Like the charm that comes from the Kendo Star bogu inside. So in my first dojo, they used this loop to kind of hang them up in the dojo. So I don't think it's important. It's just something that I think is there as a, you know, it's an accessory, I guess. I don't know, not sure. But don't worry about it if it doesn't have it. Hunter, the kamae is used to lure the player in specific areas. You mean the kamae that I told you about, the person I know? It's yeah. So even in Chudan, you can see people changing the kamae, and it's not necessarily gedan. There are a couple of I think we have to study more like kenjutsu and so on to like kind of understand further the use of these kamaes, which I want to do actually. I want to practice kenjutsu. Oh, guys, you're saying that they used to use those loops to hang the bogu on the ceilings. Yeah, I mean, I believe it because in the first dojo where I started kendo, that's how they had it. So, okay. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I am trying to be here on every Sunday. I have a guest that's coming in this week. So I will, in the Discord, let me put the Discord server in the description, in the chat, sorry. Normally in the Discord server, I post the link for the stream. So, you know, I'll be more diligent, especially next week, to put it ahead just so I can, you know, people get to know, because I don't think YouTube does a good job at that. That being said, if you'd like to become a member of the channel, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Please check it out. Let me know your thoughts. It's a big support for the channel. It helps me keep making this videos and bringing more stuff, and you know, getting stuff like this new camera that I'm hopefully you guys gonna get to enjoy some cool footage coming up soon. But you also get a couple of extra perks and a couple of extra things that I'm going to be doing for the members. So if you can, please check it out. If you can support, also feel free to either send a thanks, you know, the little heart thing that you can send here, or become a member. Thank you guys very much for being here. You guys keep motivated to keep studying, keep learning about all the stuff, and making progress in my canon, hopefully sharing all this knowledge with you. So all your suggestions and questions are always welcome. Make sure that you hit the like button so this video gets pushed out to more people. And again, if you want to send me a message, send me a question, you can do it at the Discord server. So Discord server right now is the best. I'm coming up with a couple more things, easier ways for you guys to be more accessible to you guys. So guys, please let me know your thoughts, suggestions. Thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you guys next week, okay? Take care. You guys have a good rest of your week.